Sleep tonight and wake up lighter than you felt in years. Let those words come near without forcing yourself to believe them too quickly. You do not have to prove anything. You do not have to make a promise to yourself that feels too large. You only need to become open to the idea that tonight can be different. Not perfect, not magical in a way that removes every problem before morning. Just different, softer, kinder, less heavy than the nights when your body was in bed, but your mind was still carrying the whole world. You may have been tired for a long time, not only tired in your body, but tired in a deeper place, tired of thinking about the same problems, tired of trying to understand what went wrong, tired of holding back tears, tired of being strong because you did not know what else to be, tired of waking up with the same weight you carried into sleep. Sometimes this kind of tiredness cannot be fixed by closing your eyes for a few hours. It needs something gentler. It needs permission. It needs safety. It needs a moment when the heart finally hears you do not have to carry everything through the night. Maybe you have become so used to heaviness that it feels like part of your nature. You wake up with it. You move through the day with it. You sit quietly and feel it resting somewhere in your chest. You may not even know when it began. Perhaps it came through many small worries. Perhaps it grew through disappointment, pressure, fear, regret, or the feeling that you always had to be ready for the next problem. Over time, the weight became familiar, and what is familiar can begin to feel permanent. But familiar does not mean permanent. The heaviness you feel is not who you are. It is something you have been carrying. There is a difference. You are not fear. You have felt fear. You are not sadness. You have moved through sadness. You are not the pressure in your chest, the worry in your mind, or the tiredness in your bones. These are experiences. They are not your true name. They are not your final identity. They are not the whole truth of you. Tonight is not about fighting that weight. Fighting creates more strain. You do not need to push it away, judge it, or become angry with yourself for still feeling it. You do not need to say, "Why am I still like this? Why can I not let go? Why can I not be peaceful like other people seem to be?" Those questions only add another layer of pain. The first pain is the heaviness. The second pain is the way you criticize yourself for carrying it. Tonight, we begin by removing the second pain. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to have feelings you cannot fully explain. You are allowed to reach the end of the day without having solved everything. You are allowed to need rest before you know what comes next. The morning does not begin when the sun rises. In a deeper way, the morning begins with what you give your mind before sleep. It begins with the final thoughts you carry into the night. It begins with the way you speak to yourself when the room becomes quiet. It begins with whether you close the day in fear or place it gently in the hands of life. Many people wait until morning to begin again. They wake up and try to force a positive thought into a tired mind. They tell themselves today will be better. but the mind has spent the whole night moving through old fear. The body has spent hours holding tension. The heart has carried yesterday into the first light. Then morning feels heavy before the feet even touch the floor. But what if beginning again does not need to wait until morning? What if the new day starts now in the way you release this one? What if the first act of tomorrow is the way you treat yourself tonight? You do not need to make the future happen before you sleep. You only need to stop feeding the past for a little while. You only need to create a small space inside where something new can enter. A softer thought, a deeper breath, a kinder feeling, a quiet trust that life is still moving, even when you cannot see where it is going. There may be things in your life that feel unfinished, a conversation that never happened, an answer that has not come, a plan that did not work, a relationship that changed, a door that remained closed. A part of you may believe you must keep thinking about these things or you will lose control. The mind may say, if I stop worrying, I will miss something. If I relax, something may go wrong. If I stop reviewing the past, I may repeat it. The mind often confuses worry with protection. It believes that staying tense keeps you ready. It believes that replaying every detail will help you find the answer. It believes that imagining the worst will stop you from being surprised. But the body cannot fully rest while the mind is always preparing for danger. The heart cannot feel light while it is asked to hold every possible future at once. You were never meant to carry the whole future tonight. You were never meant to solve tomorrow before it arrives. You were never meant to prove your love by worrying, prove your strength by staying awake, or prove your care by keeping your body tense. There is another way to meet the night. You can let the night support you. You can let the darkness become quiet instead of frightening. You can allow the end of the day to be an ending, not another place where the mind continues working. You can say, I have carried enough for today. You can say, I will meet tomorrow when tomorrow comes. You can say, life can continue without my fear holding everything together. Perhaps some part of you does not trust this yet. That is understandable. If you have lived through times when you had to stay alert, the body may not know how to soften simply because you tell it to. It may have learned to expect difficulty. It may have learned that peace never lasts. It may have learned that rest makes you weak or unprepared. We do not shame that part of you. We thank it. It has tried to protect you. It has worked hard. It has watched the doors, remembered the pain, looked for danger, and tried to make sure you were never hurt in the same way again. But it is tired too. The part of you that stays awake is tired. The part that overthinks is tired. The part that keeps checking, planning, remembering, and preparing is tired. Tonight you do not need to throw that part away. You only need to let it sit down. You can say, thank you for trying to protect me. You do not have to work so hard right now. We are safe enough to rest for this moment. Safe enough does not mean every part of life is perfect. It does not mean there are no responsibilities. It does not mean every question is answered. It means that in this moment, you can allow the body to stop carrying the whole day. It means you can soften without knowing exactly how everything will work out. It means you can trust that rest is not a mistake. The first sign that change is coming may not be something outside you. It may be the moment you no longer react to your thoughts in the same way. It may be the moment a worry appears and you do not follow it all the way into fear. It may be the moment you feel tension and answer it with kindness instead of more pressure. It may be the moment you notice how tired you are and choose not to judge yourself for it. That is already a new beginning. The outside world may look the same tonight, but you do not have to be the same inside it. You do not have to carry the same thought in the same way. You do not have to believe every fear simply because it speaks loudly. You do not have to treat every memory like a command. You do not have to let the day follow you into every part of the night. You can begin to separate what happened from who you are. Something difficult may have happened, but you are not the difficulty. Something may have ended, but you are not the endings. Something may still be uncertain, but you are not the uncertainty. A thought may be heavy, but you are the one who notices the thought. There is still a quiet place beneath it. There is still a part of you that knows how to breathe, how to listen, how to begin again. That quiet place may feel small tonight. Let it be small. A small light is still light. A small opening is still an opening. A little relief is still relief. You do not need a great change in one moment. You only need a small shift from holding to allowing. You have held so much. You have held words you never spoke. You have held questions with no answer. You have held love that had nowhere to go. You have held the fear of disappointing people. You have held the need to be understood. You have held the pain of not feeling chosen. You have held yourself together on days when no one knew how much it cost you. It makes sense that you are tired. But tiredness is not a sign that you have failed. It may be a message from within saying, "This way of carrying life is too heavy now." It may be the beginning of wisdom. It may be the moment when you finally understand that strength does not always mean holding on. Sometimes strength is the courage to put something down. Tonight is not asking you to become someone new before you sleep. It is asking you to stop demanding that the old version of you keep working. The one who always had to be strong can rest. The one who always expected the worst can rest. The one who tried to keep everyone happy can rest. The one who thought every problem was theirs to solve can rest. The one who kept looking backward for an answer can rest. You do not lose yourself when you let these roles become quiet. You return to yourself. Under the fear, there is still tenderness. Under the pressure, there is still life. Under the old story, there is still a new page waiting. You do not have to write that page tonight. You only need to stop reading the painful chapter over and over. The night has its own wisdom. It does not ask the tree to keep growing its leaves in the dark. It does not ask the sky to stay bright. It does not ask the earth to explain how morning will come. The night allows things to become still. It allows what has been active to become quiet. It reminds every living thing that rest is part of life, not an escape from it. You are part of that same life. You do not have to earn the right to rest. You do not need to finish everything. You do not need anyone's permission. The night is not judging how much you achieved. It is not checking whether you answered every message, made every right choice, or pleased every person. It is simply here, offering you a place to stop. You can meet that offer gently. You can let this moment be enough. You can allow one simple truth to enter your mind. I am not the weight I have been carrying. Let that thought move slowly through you. I am not the worry. I am not the regret. I am not the pressure. I am not the old fear. I am the life beneath it. I am the one who can choose another thought. I am the one who can stop for tonight. I am the one who can let the day end. The morning begins with this release. It begins with the first quiet choice not to follow the old thought. It begins when you stop asking the night to give you every answer and allow it to give you rest instead. You may not wake up with a completely different life, but you can wake up with a different relationship to your life. You can wake with a little more room inside, a little less fear around the same question, a little more kindness toward your body, a little more trust in the next step. Do not underestimate what a little more space can do. A little space can help you breathe before reacting. A little space can help you hear your own truth. A little space can help you see that one problem is not your whole life. A little space can help you remember that support can appear in forms you have not imagined. This night can create that space, not through force, not through pressure, not through pretending, through release, through gentleness, through the choice to stop carrying what does not need to be carried right now. You are not being asked to let go forever. The mind may resist that. You are only being asked to let go for tonight. Tomorrow, if something still needs your attention, you can meet it with more strength. You can return to the question with a clearer mind. You can take practical action when the day begins. But tonight is not the place for every answer. Tonight is the place where your inner world becomes quiet enough to hear something deeper than fear. Something in you already knows that the weight can leave. Something in you remembers a time before you carried so much. Something in you is still soft, even after difficult days. Something in you is ready to feel supported again. You do not need to rush toward that feeling. Let it come closer on its own. Let it know that it is safe to return. The night is open. The day is ending. The burden does not have to follow you any farther. The body may lie down while the mind continues walking. It walks back into old conversation. It walks forward into feared futures. It enters rooms that do not exist yet and tries to prepare for problems that have not happened. It returns to mistakes and looks at them from every side. It asks what should have been said, what could have been done, and why something did not happen in the way you hoped. The body is tired, but the mind keeps moving. This is why sleep can feel far away even when your eyes are heavy. The body is ready to stop, but the mind believes stopping is unsafe. It believes there is still work to do. Maybe the work is emotional. It keeps trying to understand why someone changed. It keeps trying to find the exact moment when things went wrong. It keeps searching for proof that you were enough. It keeps hoping that if it reviews the story one more time, it will discover an answer that removes the pain. Maybe the work is practical. It thinks about money, work, family, health, duties, plans, and every task waiting for tomorrow. It creates long lists in the dark. It reminds you of everything unfinished. It says, "Do not relax yet. There is too much to do." Maybe the work is fear. It asks, what if this does not improve? What if the answer never comes? What if I lose what I care about? What if I make the wrong choice? What if I cannot handle what happens next? The mind asks these questions because it wants certainty, but life does not always give certainty before rest. Sometimes rest must come first. Sometimes clarity arrives after the mind has stopped trying to force it. You may believe that if you keep thinking, you are being responsible. But thinking without rest often becomes a circle. The same questions return. The same fear grows. The same body tension deepens. You are not moving closer to a solution. You are only moving deeper into exhaustion. This is not because your mind is weak. It is because the mind was not made to stay open to every problem without stopping. It needs moments when nothing is required. It needs darkness without danger. It needs quiet without questions. You may have forgotten how to give it that. Perhaps the phone became the last thing you saw each night. Perhaps worry became the final voice you heard. Perhaps the day always ended with another task, another message, another thought about what you should have done better. The mind learned that night was not a place of rest. It was simply the part of the day when the body stopped moving, but the pressure continued. Tonight, the pattern can begin to change. Not through a strict rule, not through a demand. Through one loving message repeated in different ways. The day is complete enough for me to rest. Complete enough does not mean perfect. It does not mean every task is finished. It does not mean every problem is solved. It means you have reached the point where more thinking will not help you tonight. It means the body needs care more than the problem needs attention. It means tomorrow deserves a rested version of you, not a version that spent the whole night fighting thoughts. You can say, I have done what I could with the energy I had today. You can say, what remains can wait. You can say, I do not need to carry tomorrow tonight. There may be a part of you that feels guilty when you stop. It may say, but there is still so much to do. It may tell you that rest must be earned. It may remind you of people who seem to do more, move faster, or handle life better. But comparison is not truth. You do not know what another person carries. You do not know the cost of the image they show. You only know what your body is telling you now, and your body is asking for a gentler ending. You are not lazy because you need rest. You are not failing because your mind is tired. You are not falling behind because you cannot solve everything in one night. There is no prize for suffering longer than necessary. There is no deeper wisdom in keeping yourself awake with fear. There is no love in punishing the body for being human. The mind may also carry other people into sleep, their moods, their words, their needs, their problems, their silence, their reactions. You may lie down and continue thinking about what they feel, what they meant, what they may do, and how you can make things better for them. Perhaps you have learned to watch other people closely. You notice when their energy changes. You notice when they become quiet. You try to understand what you did wrong. You feel responsible for bringing peace back. This can become a very heavy way to live. You begin carrying emotions that do not belong to you. You begin solving problems you did not create. You begin losing sleep over choices another person must make for themselves. Care is beautiful. Love is beautiful. But love does not require you to become the home for everyone else's unrest. You are allowed to return other people's feelings to them with kindness. You are allowed to say, this is not mine to solve tonight. You are allowed to care without carrying. You are allowed to love without losing yourself. You are allowed to sleep even when someone else is unhappy. You are allowed to rest even when life around you is unfinished. This does not make you cold. It makes you honest about what your heart and body can hold. The mind may resist because it has built its sense of safety around staying aware of everyone. It may believe that if it stops watching, something will go wrong. But there is a difference between being loving and being on guard. Love can be open. Being on guard is tense. Love listens. Being on guard watches for danger. Love gives freely. Being on guard gives from fear. Tonight, You can let the guard inside you sit down. You do not need to watch every door. You do not need to understand every silence. You do not need to prepare for every reaction. You can let people be where they are while you return to yourself. Another weight the mind carries is regret. It may wait until the room becomes quiet and then bring back every choice you wish you had made differently. During the day, you may stay busy enough not to feel it, but at night, it enters slowly. Why did I say that? Why did I stay so long? Why did I leave too soon? Why did I trust? Why did I ignore what I knew? Why did I waste so much time? These questions can become painful when they are asked without kindness. They do not lead to understanding. They become punishment. The mind believes punishment will stop you from making the same mistake. It believes that if it keeps you ashamed, you will become better. But shame does not always create wisdom. Often it creates fear. It makes you hide. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes the past feel alive in every new choice. You are allowed to learn without hurting yourself. You are allowed to look back without becoming trapped there. You are allowed to admit that you would choose differently now. The fact that you know better today does not mean you should attack the person you were before. It means you have grown. Growth should not become another weapon against your past. You made choices from the awareness you had, the needs you had, the fears you had, and the strength available to you at that time. Perhaps you stayed because you were afraid. Perhaps you trusted because you wanted to believe in love. Perhaps you gave too much because you had not learned that your needs mattered. Perhaps you waited because hope was the only thing helping you continue. You can understand the old version of yourself without making the old choice again. You can say, I see why I did what I did. You can say, I am learning another way. You can say the lesson can stay, but the punishment can end. The mind may also carry the future. It creates tomorrow before tomorrow arrives. It imagines every task at once. It turns one uncertain thing into a complete picture of failure. It acts as though fear is a message from the future. But fear is not always a warning. Sometimes it is only an old pattern meeting something unknown. Not knowing does not mean something bad is coming. A delay does not mean you have been forgotten. A closed door does not mean there are no other doors. A difficult moment does not mean your whole future will be difficult. The mind often speaks in final words when it is tired. Always, never, nothing, everything, no one. These words make the problem feel larger than it is. Nothing ever changes. I will always feel this way. No one understands me. Everything is going wrong. When you hear these words, you do not need to argue. You can answer gently. This is how I feel right now. It is not the whole future. This moment is heavy. It is not every moment. I do not see the answer yet. That does not mean there is no answer. Life has changed before. It can change again. This kind of answer does not deny the pain. It keeps the pain from becoming your identity. You can feel uncertain without calling yourself lost. You can feel tired without calling yourself broken. You can feel lonely without deciding that love will never find you. You can face a problem without turning it into a life sentence. The mind needs these simple truths because fear makes everything feel larger. It pulls tomorrow into tonight and asks the body to survive both days at once. But you only need to live this moment, this breath, this small return. You do not need to carry the morning yet. You do not need to carry next week. You do not need to carry the outcome. You only need to meet the place where you are. Right now, the place where you are is asking for rest. There is wisdom in letting the day end. When a day ends, it does not mean you failed to finish everything. It means life has a rhythm. There is a time for action and a time for release. A time to think and a time to stop thinking. A time to plan and a time to trust. If you never allow the second part, the first part becomes too heavy. Action without rest becomes strain. Care without rest becomes resentment. Thinking without rest becomes fear. Giving without rest becomes emptiness. Strength without rest becomes numbness. You are allowed to return to balance. You may have lived for a long time as though being needed was the same as being loved. You may have felt valuable when you were solving problems, helping others, staying available, or carrying more than anyone knew. Then rest can feel strange. When no one needs anything from you, you may not know who you are. When the phone becomes quiet, the silence may feel uncomfortable. When there is nothing to fix in that moment, the mind creates something to worry about. This is not your fault. It is a pattern. And patterns can be changed with love. You are valuable even when you are not useful. You are worthy even when you are not helping. You matter even when you are resting. Your life does not need to be earned through exhaustion. Let this enter slowly because it may touch a deep place. You do not need to suffer to prove that you care. You do not need to stay awake to prove that you are responsible. You do not need to carry every person to prove that your heart is good. Your goodness is already present. Your love is already present. Your worth is already present. Rest does not take these things away. It protects them. The mind may ask, what if I forget something important? If something truly needs to be remembered, you can return to it tomorrow. You can write it down. You can take the needed step when you are able, but you do not need to repeat it in your head all night to keep it real. You can trust yourself to meet life again. You can trust tomorrow's version of you. You can trust that the next day will bring new light, new energy, and perhaps a new way of seeing the same question. Tonight's job is not to create every answer. Tonight's job is to stop adding fear to the questions. You can say, I release the need to solve this now. You can say, I give my mind permission to become quiet. You can say, I will meet what comes with the strength available to me then. You can say, I do not need to rehearse pain to prepare for life. The mind may wander back. That is natural. You do not have to become angry when it does. Every return is part of healing. A thought appears. You notice it. You do not build a home inside it. You return to the present. Again, the thought may come. Again, you return. This is not failure. This is practice. The mind has followed the old road many times. Of course it knows the way. A new road becomes familiar through gentle return, not force. Each time you return, you are teaching the mind that worry is not the only place it can go. It can return to the body. It can return to the breath. It can return to a simple thought. I am here. The day is finished. I am safe enough to stop. These words do not need to feel powerful. They only need to feel kinder than the old fear. Kindness is enough to begin. You may have tried to control your thoughts before. You may have told yourself, stop thinking, stop worrying, go to sleep. But the mind does not become peaceful when it is shouted at. It becomes more alert. It feels like another problem to solve. Tonight, speak to it differently. Dear mind, you have done enough. Dear mind, you do not need to protect me from every possible future. Dear mind, thank you for trying to help. Dear mind, we can rest now. The mind may not become silent at once. That is okay. Silence is not the only form of peace. Sometimes peace is hearing the thought without following it. Sometimes peace is feeling fear without becoming the fear. Sometimes peace is allowing the mind to be unsettled while the heart remains kind. You do not need a perfect inner state before you deserve sleep. You do not need to clear every thought. You do not need to feel calm in every part of your body. You only need to stop making yourself wrong for where you are. The day is complete enough. Your effort is complete enough. You are complete enough for this moment. You can release what belongs to another time. Tomorrow will arrive without you pulling it closer through worry. Morning will come without you watching the clock. Life will continue moving while you rest. You do not need to carry it forward with your mind. There comes a moment when carrying becomes heavier than letting go. Not because the problem has disappeared, not because you suddenly understand everything, but because something inside you knows it cannot continue in the same way. Maybe this is that moment. Maybe some quiet part of you is ready to stop holding the day so tightly. You have held enough for now. You have thought enough for now. You have tried enough for now. You are allowed to put everything down. Imagine the day as a heavy coat you have worn from morning until night. It carries the weather, the noise, the pressure, and every place you have been. You would not sleep well while still wearing it. You would take it off. You would place it somewhere nearby. It would still exist, but it would no longer be pressing against your body. The day is like that. You do not need to destroy it. You do not need to deny it. You do not need to pretend it was lighter than it felt. You only need to take it off for the night. The words can wait. The tasks can wait. The unanswered messages can wait. The plans can wait. The part of you that wants to fix everything may say, "But what if I fall behind?" Yet rest is not falling behind. Rest is part of moving forward. A tired mind does not always make wise choices. A tense body does not always hear inner guidance clearly. A heart under pressure may accept what it would refuse if it felt safe. Rest gives you back to yourself. It does not remove your power. It restores it. You may have been taught that stopping is weakness. So perhaps you learned to keep going even when the body asked for care. Perhaps you were praised for handling everything. Perhaps people came to depend on your strength. You became the one who did not need much, asked for little, and found a way through. But strength can become a cage when you are never allowed to be soft. You are allowed to be supported. You are allowed to need quiet. You are allowed to say, "I cannot carry this right now." You are allowed to choose yourself without explaining every reason. You do not need to be at the edge of your strength before you rest. You do not need to collapse before you become gentle. You do not need to wait until the body forces you to stop. You can choose rest as an act of love. There may be a fear that if you put the weight down, you will not pick it up again. But perhaps some of it does not need to be picked up. Perhaps you have been carrying duties that belong to someone else. Perhaps you have been holding guilt that never helped anyone. Perhaps you have been carrying an old image of who you must be, the one who never says no, the one who always understands, the one who keeps the peace, the one who accepts less to avoid being alone, the one who hides pain to make others comfortable, the one who never asks for help. These roles may have helped you survive, but they do not have to follow you forever. You can thank them. You can understand why they began. You can let them become quiet. Putting something down does not mean it never mattered. It means you are no longer willing to let it take all your strength. You can care about someone and still stop carrying their choices. You can value your work and still stop carrying it into every hour of the night. You can remember the past and still stop living inside it. You can want a better future and still allow yourself to rest before it arrives. There is no conflict between rest and change. Rest often makes change possible. When the body feels safer, the mind becomes clearer. When the mind becomes clearer, choices become simpler. When choices become simpler, life feels less like a battle. This is why the first step tonight is not to solve. It is to release. Release the need to be perfect. Perfection is a heavy promise. It tells you that one mistake can ruin everything. It makes simple choices feel dangerous. It turns every task into a test of your worth. You were never meant to live that way. You are allowed to be learning. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to make a choice with the knowledge you have now. You are allowed to be human in front of other people. You are allowed to have an unfinished life. An unfinished life is not a failed life. It is a living life. There will always be something still becoming, a part of the heart still healing, a question still opening, a dream still forming, a lesson still being understood. You do not need to reach the end of becoming before you deserve peace. Peace can meet you in the middle. Love can meet you while you are learning. Rest can meet you before everything is complete. Release the need for approval. You may have spent years asking, what will they think? Will they be disappointed? Will they still love me? Will they understand my choice? These questions can pull you away from your own truth. You begin living from the outside inward. You look at yourself through other people's eyes. You adjust your needs, your voice, your pace, and your boundaries so no one feels uncomfortable. But your life cannot become lighter while you carry the weight of everyone's opinion. People may misunderstand your healing. They may not understand why you need space. They may not understand why you no longer say yes. They may not understand why the old version of you is disappearing. That does not mean you are doing something wrong. Not every person will understand the choices that bring you back to yourself. You do not need to make your healing look reasonable to everyone. You do not need to remain tired so others can remain comfortable. You do not need to keep proving that you are good. Your heart knows when something is too heavy. Your body knows when a yes is not honest. Your inner voice knows when you are leaving yourself behind. Tonight, you can come back. You can say, I release the need to be understood by everyone. I release the need to explain every feeling. I release the need to make my life easy for other people to accept. I am allowed to choose what supports my peace. Release the need to hurry. Hurry can become a way of living, even when nothing is chasing you. You wake up in a rush. You eat in a rush. You think in a rush. You try to heal in a rush. You ask, why am I not better yet? Why is this taking so long? Why have I not reached the next part of my life? But healing is not a race. Peace is not a place you arrive by running faster. You do not become lighter by pushing yourself harder. The body needs time to trust a new way. The mind needs repetition to believe kinder thoughts. The heart needs patience after it has lived through disappointment. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not failing because your path has taken time. Something can be slow and still be working. A tree does not apologize for the time it takes to grow. The morning does not feel ashamed because it begins in darkness. Life moves in rhythms. Some parts are active. Some parts are quiet. Some parts are visible. Some parts are changing beneath the surface. You are allowed to have seasons that no one else can see. You are allowed to be growing without proof. You are allowed to rest while life is arranging the next step. Release the belief that you must hold everything together. Perhaps you are afraid that if you stop, everything will fall apart. You have become the support, the planner, the listener, the one who remembers, the one who notices, the one who keeps going. But life is larger than your effort. Not everything depends on you. The morning does not need you to bring the sun. The body knows how to breathe while you sleep. The earth continues turning without your worry. There is a deeper life carrying things you cannot control. You can take your hands off what was never yours to control. You can do your part and stop trying to do every part. You can love and allow. You can care and release. You can act and then rest. This is not giving up. It is trusting that life has movement beyond your own mind. You have carried the belief that everything must happen through your effort. Tonight, let another belief enter. Support can come. Answers can come. New paths can open. Something can change without being forced. Life can meet you. The heart may not believe this fully yet. Let it hear the thought anyway. You are planting a gentler possibility. I do not have to hold everything together. I can release what is too heavy. I can trust that life is still moving. Release the emotional weight of unfinished things. There may be a task you did not complete, a goal you did not reach, a promise you made to yourself but could not keep. The mind may use these things as proof that you are not disciplined, not strong, or not serious enough. But a missed task is not your identity. A delayed goal is not the end. One difficult day does not cancel your growth. You are allowed to begin again without turning yesterday into a punishment. You can say, today was what it was. Some parts were good, some parts were difficult. Some things were finished. Some things remain. And now the day can close. You do not need to carry the unfinished list in your chest. Place it outside the body. Let it belong to paper, to tomorrow, or to another time. Your heart is not a place for storing every task. Your heart is meant to feel. Your body is meant to live. Your mind is meant to create, not only to worry. Give each part of you a kinder job tonight. Let the body rest. Let the heart soften. Let the mind become quiet enough to stop solving. Let life hold what you cannot hold. Release the pressure to know the answer. You may be standing between what was and what comes next. The old path may no longer feel right, but the new path may not be clear. This place can feel uncomfortable because the mind wants a map, but not every part of life comes with a map. Sometimes the next step becomes clear only after you stop forcing the whole path to appear. You do not need to know how everything will work. You do not need to know when the door will open. You do not need to know who will stay, who will leave, or what will change. You need only enough light for the next step, and tonight the next step is rest. Rest is not nothing. Rest is a choice. Rest is a message. Rest tells the body, I will not keep using fear to move through life. Rest tells the mind, you do not have to earn your place through constant work. Rest tells the heart, I am willing to listen to what you need. Rest tells life, I trust that not everything must be forced. You can put down the question and still care about the answer. You can stop chasing and still be open. You can sleep and still be moving toward change. Let the hands become soft. They have held enough. Let the jaw become soft. It has held words, anger, fear, and effort. Let the shoulders become soft. They have carried duties, expectations, and emotional weight. Let the chest become open enough for an easier breath. Let the stomach release the future for a little while. You do not need to command the body. Speak to it like a dear friend. You can say, thank you for carrying me today. Thank you for staying with me through every feeling. Thank you for trying to protect me. You can rest now. The body has not betrayed you by becoming tired. It has been speaking. It has been asking for another pace, another tone, another way of being treated. Tonight, listen. The body may not need a perfect plan. It may need tenderness. It may need to know that you will not attack it for being human. It may need to know that tomorrow will not begin with criticism. It may need to know that you are becoming a safer place within yourself. You are allowed to be your own safe place, not because you will never need anyone, not because you must do everything alone, but because your own voice can stop becoming another source of pain. You can become the voice that says, we will take this step by step. You can become the voice that says, you do not have to be afraid of every thought. You can become the voice that says, I will stay with you when things feel uncertain. You can become the voice that says, you have done enough for today. The way you speak to yourself tonight matters. Do not send yourself into sleep with criticism. Do not make the last message of the day a list of everything you did wrong. Do not ask the tired mind to become perfect before it is allowed to rest. Offer comfort instead. I am allowed to stop. I am allowed to rest before everything is solved. I am allowed to leave some things for tomorrow. I am allowed to care for myself without guilt. I release the need to prove my worth. I release the need to carry what belongs to others. I release the pressure to know what comes next. I have done enough for today. These words are not excuses. They are medicine for a part of you that has lived under too much pressure. You have not become tired because you are weak. You have become tired because you have been trying, carrying, hoping, adjusting, and continuing. Honor that effort. Do not use it against yourself. Say, I see how much I have carried. I see how hard I have tried. I see the strength it took to reach this moment. And now I choose a different kind of strength. The strength to soften, the strength to stop, the strength to let life hold me for a while. You may not know how to receive support yet. You may be more comfortable giving. Receiving can feel uncertain when you have learned not to depend on anyone. But support is not always another person doing everything for you. Support can be the bed beneath you, the breath moving through you, the quiet room, the words entering your mind, the life inside your body continuing without your control. Support is already here in small ways. Notice it without forcing a feeling. You are being held. You do not have to hold yourself above the ground. You do not have to keep the heart beating. You do not have to order each breath. Life is already doing something for you. Let that remind you that not every good thing depends on your effort. Some things come through allowing. Some things come when you stop gripping. Some answers arrive when the noise becomes quiet. Some strength returns only after you rest. This is your permission. Permission to stop carrying the day. Permission to stop proving. Permission to stop chasing the answer through the night. Permission to release the role of holding everything together. Permission to be a person who needs care. Permission to believe that rest supports your future. Nothing important is lost when you choose peace. What belongs to tomorrow will still be there. What belongs to you will not disappear because you rested. What needs your action can meet you after your body has received what it needs. Tonight, you can close the door on the day without anger. You can say, this day has given what it could. I have given what I could. Now we are complete enough. Let the day move away from you. Let every hour return to the past where it belongs. Let the things you cannot change become quiet. Let the things you can change wait for new strength. You are not refusing life. You are preparing to meet it differently. And as you place the weight down, you may begin to notice what was hidden beneath it. A little space, a little warmth, a little part of you that still believes tomorrow can feel different. Do not ask that feeling to become larger yet. Protect it with rest. Let it remain simple. Let it sit quietly inside you. The old weight does not need to leave all at once. It can loosen piece by piece, thought by thought, choice by choice, night by night. Tonight you have begun by saying, I no longer need to carry everything in the same way. That is enough for this moment. The coat is coming off. The bag is being placed down. The door is closing gently behind the day. And your whole inner world is beginning to understand that stopping is safe. There are nights when the past feels closer than the present. The room is quiet, the day has ended, and suddenly old moments begin to rise. A word you still remember, a choice you wish you had made differently, a door you should have closed sooner, a truth you were not ready to see. A part of you may believe that if you keep thinking about it, you will finally understand enough to feel free. But understanding does not always come from thinking harder. Sometimes freedom begins when you stop asking the past to become different. What happened has already happened. This does not mean it was right. It does not mean it did not hurt. It does not mean you must act as though it was small. It means that tonight you are allowed to stop fighting with a moment that can no longer be changed. Fighting the past keeps the body inside it. The mind returns to the same scene and tries to rewrite it. It creates better answers. It imagines stronger boundaries. It thinks of what should have been said. It asks why you did not know then what you know now. But you could not use today's wisdom in yesterday's moment. You were working with what you understood at that time. You were choosing from the strength you had then. You were responding from the fear, hope, need, and awareness that were present in you. It is easy to look backward with new understanding and judge the person you used to be. It is easy to say, I should have seen it. I should have left. I should have spoken. I should have known. But the person you were then did not have the clarity you have now. That is why you see it differently today. Your new understanding is proof of growth, not proof that you deserve punishment. The past does not need another judge. It needs a loving witness. A witness says, yes, that hurt. A witness says, yes, I wish it had been different. A witness says, I see what I carried. A witness says, I understand why I chose what I chose. A witness says, I am ready to stop using this memory against myself. You can tell the truth without creating more pain. You can admit that something was wrong without letting it live forever inside your body. You can honor what you felt without allowing it to control every new moment. The past may have taught you to expect disappointment. It may have taught you to stay quiet, to give too much, to doubt your own feelings, or to believe that love must be difficult. It may have taught you to keep one part of yourself hidden so you could feel accepted. Those lessons may have protected you for a while. But protection can become a prison when the danger is no longer here. You do not need to keep living by rules that were made during pain. You do not need to keep proving that the past was serious by carrying it every night. You do not need to repeat the wound in order to remember the lesson. The lesson can stay. The fear can leave. The wisdom can stay. The shame can leave. The truth can stay. The punishment can end. You may not be ready to forgive everything. That is okay. Forgiveness should not become another demand. It should not be something you force because you believe you must become more spiritual, more loving, or more peaceful. Forced forgiveness can make the heart feel unheard. Real release begins with honesty. You may begin with something smaller. I am willing to stop hurting myself with this memory. I am willing to release one part of this weight. I am willing to believe that my future does not need to look like me in past. Willingness is enough. It is a small opening, but life can enter through a small opening. You do not need to feel complete peace in one moment. You only need to stop closing the door to it. Maybe you still feel anger. Anger may have helped you understand that something was not right. It may have given you the strength to protect yourself. It may have shown you where your boundary was crossed. You do not need to hate your anger, but anger was not meant to become your permanent home. It can deliver its message and then become quiet. It can say, "This mattered." It can say, "I deserved better." It can say, "I will not accept this again." Then it can release you. You are allowed to keep the boundary and release the fire. You are allowed to remember your worth without carrying the whole battle. You are allowed to move forward without forgetting what you learned. Maybe sadness still lives close to the surface. It may come from what you lost, what did not happen, or what you hoped would last. Sadness does not mean you are weak. It means something mattered. It means your heart cared. It means you had hope. You do not need to rush sadness away. But you also do not need to make it responsible for your whole future. You can say, "This was real, and my life is still larger than this." You can say, "I loved, I hoped, I lost, and I am still here." You can say, "This chapter changed me," but it does not own every chapter after it. The heart can hold memory without living inside memory. The heart can remember and still open again. The heart can be careful without becoming closed. It can learn without becoming cold. Tonight, allow sadness to be present without giving it every room inside you. Let it sit quietly. Let it be seen. Let it know that it no longer has to shout to receive your attention. You are listening now. You are not running from yourself. You are not pretending that nothing happened. You are simply choosing not to carry the pain in the same way. There may also be guilt. Guilt often speaks in a hard voice. It says you ruined something. It says you should have been better. It says you do not deserve peace because someone was hurt, something was lost, or a choice had consequences. Healthy guilt can help you become honest. It can lead you to make a change, speak the truth, or take responsibility. But once responsibility has been taken, endless punishment does not create more healing. You cannot change the past by refusing yourself peace. You cannot repair something by living in shame forever. You cannot prove your goodness by hating yourself. You are allowed to learn, make amends where possible, and still return to love. You can say, "I see what I would do differently. I accept the lesson." I choose another way now. I release the belief that I must suffer forever because I was once unaware. This does not remove responsibility. It changes responsibility into growth. There is a difference between saying I made a choice I regret and saying I am a person who deserves regret forever. One speaks about an action. The other attacks your whole being. You are more than one choice. You are more than one season. You are more than one moment when fear was stronger than wisdom. You are still learning. You are still becoming. You are still worthy of a life that feels peaceful. Perhaps the hardest part of the past is not what someone else did. Perhaps it is the way you left yourself during that time. You may remember the moments when you ignored what you felt, the times you stayed silent, the times you accepted less because you were afraid of losing what little you had, the times you looked for approval instead of listening to your own heart. This can create deep self-blame. But you did not leave yourself because you were foolish. You left yourself because you were trying to survive in the way you knew. You may have learned that being accepted was safer than being honest. You may have learned that love could disappear if you had needs. You may have learned that peace meant keeping everyone else comfortable. You may have learned that your own feelings were too much. Those beliefs did not begin because something was wrong with you. They began because you were trying to find safety. Now you can learn another kind of safety. You can become someone who listens inward. You can become someone who does not disappear to keep another person close. You can become someone who believes that love should not require self-abandonment. You can say to the older version of yourself, I understand why you were afraid. I understand why you waited. I understand why you hoped. I understand why you kept trying. And now I am here. I will not leave you again. These words can reach a place that judgment never could. Judgment makes the old self hide. Compassion lets the old self return home. You may have thought healing meant becoming completely different from who you were. But healing often means bringing back the parts of yourself that were left behind. The trusting part, the joyful part, the part that spoke freely, the part that believed life could surprise you, the part that knew your worth before fear taught you to doubt it. These parts are not gone. They have been waiting for safety. As you release the past, you make room for them to return. Releasing does not mean forgetting. Some things will always be part of your story. But memory does not have to feel like a wound every time it rises. A memory can become a page instead of a place where you still live. You can open the page, understand it, and close it again. You can say, that was then, this is now. I am here. I am different. I have choices today that I did not know I had before. That is where your power returns. Your power is not in changing what happened. Your power is in deciding what happens inside you now. The past may have shaped you, but it does not have the final word. You have a voice now. You have awareness now. You have the ability to stop repeating an old belief. You can choose not to carry shame into another morning. You can choose not to expect the next person to repeat the last person. You can choose not to make one closed door mean that every door will close. You can choose not to treat an old wound as proof that you are unworthy of love. This is how the future becomes different. Not by denying history, by refusing to let history become a command. You may notice the mind returning to what was said or done. When it does, do not fight the thought. Fighting gives it more force. Meet it with a gentle truth. Yes, I remember. Yes, it mattered. Yes, I learned. And I am here now. You do not need to enter every memory that calls your name. You can hear it and remain where you are. You can let it pass like a sound outside the room. You can remind yourself that remembering is not the same as reliving. The body may not know that yet. It may tighten when a memory comes. The heart may beat faster. The chest may feel heavy. This is where your loving voice becomes important. You can say, "Dear body, that moment is over." You can say, "We are not there now." You can say, "I know why you are reacting." You can say, "I am staying with you." You can say, "You do not need to protect me from a memory as though it is happening again." The body learns safety through present experience. Each time you meet an old memory with a new response, you change something. The memory may be the same, but your relationship with it becomes different. You stop becoming the frightened version of yourself. You become the one who can hold that version with care. You become the safe voice. You become the steady presence. You become the one who says, "It is finished now." The past may also contain things you wish had happened. Sometimes we grieve not only what occurred, but what never came. The love that was not given, the apology that never arrived, the support you needed, the chance you thought would come, the life you imagined. This kind of grief can be hard because there is no clear ending. The mind keeps the door open. It waits. It imagines that one day the missing thing will return and make everything feel complete. But your healing does not need to wait for another person, another answer, or another ending. You can give yourself the care you hoped would come from outside. You can speak the words you needed to hear. You can stop waiting for the past to return and repair itself. You can say, "I deserved care. I deserved honesty. I deserved tenderness. I deserved to feel safe. And now I will begin giving these things to myself." This does not replace everything you needed then, but it begins to end the waiting. You do not have to stay emotionally at the same door. You can turn toward your own life. You can let new light come from another direction. You can stop asking yesterday to become tomorrow. There is a future that does not need the past to approve it. There is love that does not need to resemble what hurt you. There is peace that does not depend on receiving every answer. There is a version of you that can remember without breaking. Let that possibility become real inside you. You do not have to know exactly how you will reach it. You only need to become willing to stop walking backward in your mind. Tonight, you can release one question. Why did this happen? Perhaps the full answer will never come. But another question may serve you better. What do I choose now? Now you choose kindness. Now you choose truth. Now you choose rest. Now you choose not to make the past your whole identity. You can release another question. Why was I not enough? That question begins with a false belief. What happened was not a measure of your worth. Someone else's inability to love well was not proof that you were hard to love. A closed door did not reduce your value. A mistake did not erase your goodness. A difficult season did not change the sacred life within you. You were always more than the way you were treated. You were always more than the outcome. You were always more than the approval you received or did not receive. Tonight, you can let worth return to its proper place. It belongs inside you. It does not belong in someone else's hands. You can release another question. Am I too late? No part of your life is wasted when it teaches you how to return to yourself. Time may have passed, but you are here now. You can begin now. You can love yourself now. You can choose another direction now. Life is not asking you to recover every lost year in one night. It is asking you to meet this moment honestly. This moment is alive. This moment still holds choice. This moment still holds love. You are not too late to become gentler with yourself. You are not too late to stop repeating an old pattern. You are not too late to build a life that feels more true. The past may have taken much of your energy. Tonight, let some of that energy return. Let it return from the memories you keep replaying. Let it return from the conversations you continue having in your mind. Let it return from the people whose approval you still seek. Let it return from the mistakes you keep using against yourself. Let it return from the future you thought you should have had. This energy belongs in your life now. It belongs in your body. It belongs in your healing. It belongs in the new choices that are waiting for you. You can say, I call my energy back from what is finished. I call my attention back to the present. I call my heart back to itself. I release the past so I can live where life is happening. You are not pushing anything away. You are gathering yourself. You are becoming whole in the place where you once felt divided. You are choosing not to leave parts of yourself trapped in old rooms. Let those rooms become quiet now. Let the doors close softly. Let the old voices fade. You have heard them enough. There is a new voice within you. It does not speak with blame. It does not speak with fear. It says, you did the best you could then. It says, you know more now. It says, you are allowed to choose again. It says, The past can rest. Let that voice become the one you trust tonight. I forgive myself for what I did not understand before. I forgive myself for the times fear made the choice. I forgive myself for staying longer than I wanted. I forgive myself for leaving before I felt ready. I forgive myself for not having all the answers. I forgive myself for being human. I release the belief that I must keep suffering to prove that I learned. I keep the wisdom. I release the weight. I let the past become still. And as the past becomes still, the present begins to feel more open. There is more space around you, more space inside you, more room for breath, more room for rest, more room for the life that is still waiting to be lived. The body can be tired and still not know how to rest. It can lie beneath the covers while holding the day in its muscles. The shoulders may still be raised. The jaw may still be tight. The stomach may still be waiting for something to go wrong. The hands may still feel ready to reach for the phone, fix a problem, or protect the heart. The body does not always respond to time. It responds to safety. Night may have arrived, but the body may still believe it is living inside the pressure of the day. This is not because the body is working against you. It is trying to help. It remembers moments when you needed to stay alert. It remembers uncertainty. It remembers emotional changes, difficult words, long periods of worry, and times when life felt unsafe. The body learns through repetition. If it has practiced tension for a long time, tension may begin to feel normal. If it has practiced expecting bad news, quiet may feel strange. If it has practiced being ready for other people's moods, peace may feel too open. The body may say, "Do not soften yet." It may say, "We need to stay prepared." It may say, "Something could happen." You do not need to argue with it. You can teach it another way. Not through pressure, through patience. Not by saying, "Relax right now." By saying, "I understand why this is difficult." The body needs partnership. It needs to know that you are no longer going to treat its reactions as a problem. You are not going to shame the tight chest. You are not going to become angry with the tired eyes. You are not going to criticize the body for carrying what it was never taught to release. You can begin by noticing. The shoulders have worked hard. They have carried tasks, expectations, and responsibilities. They may have lifted whenever you felt pressure, as though preparing to defend you. Tonight, they do not need to hold the world close to your ears. They can lower. They can become heavy in a gentle way. They can remember that the surface beneath you is already doing the holding. You do not need to hold yourself above it. The jaw has worked hard too. It has held backward, as it has carried anger that did not feel safe to express. It has tightened around worry. It has prepared for conversations that never happened. Tonight, the jaw does not need to protect every unsaid truth. The truth still belongs to you even when the muscles soften. You do not lose your voice when you rest. You do not lose your strength when the mouth becomes quiet. Your hands have carried so much. They have worked, held, reached, helped, cleaned, written, and tried to keep life in order. They have touched what you loved and held what you feared losing. Tonight, the hands do not need a task. They can open. They can stop reaching. They can stop trying to hold what life is already carrying. Your chest may have become a home for worry. Sometimes fear lives there before the mind even knows why. A thought enters and the chest tightens. A memory rises and the breath becomes smaller. The chest is not asking for judgment. It is asking for reassurance. You can say, there is room to breathe here. You can say, I do not need to protect my heart from every possible future. You can say, this moment is not demanding anything from me. The breath does not need to be deep or perfect. It only needs permission to move. The stomach may be holding tomorrow. It may carry fear about money, health, work, relationships, or the unknown. It may tighten whenever you do not have control. You can place a loving thought there. Tomorrow is not happening inside me right now. I do not need to digest the whole future tonight. I can meet life when it arrives. The body listens to simple messages. It does not need long explanations. It needs a tone that feels kind. It needs words that do not create more pressure. It needs you to stop treating it like an enemy. For a long time, you may have spoken to your body only when something felt wrong. You may have noticed it mainly through pain, appearance, tiredness, or fear. You may have asked, why are you doing this to me? But the body has never been trying to punish you. It has been speaking the only way it knows. Tension may be a message. Tiredness may be a message. Restlessness may be a message. The message is not always danger. Sometimes the message is, I have carried too much. Sometimes it is, I need care. Sometimes it is, I do not feel safe enough to stop. Tonight, you can answer, I hear you. I am not leaving you alone with this feeling. I will not attack you for needing rest. I am learning how to care for you. These words begin a new relationship. The body does not need you to love every part perfectly. It only needs you to stop creating more harm through criticism. You may not feel at peace with the body yet. You may carry old judgments about how it looks, how it feels, what it can do, or how it has changed. But the body has stayed with you through every season. It has carried joy and grief. It has carried stress and hope. It has carried you through days when you felt strong and days when you barely knew how to continue. It deserves Taste tenderness, not because it has been perfect, because it has been your home. You can begin with gratitude that feels honest. Thank you for bringing me to this night. Thank you for every breath you gave me without asking for praise. Thank you for every step, every movement, every signal. Thank you for trying to protect me. Thank you for staying. The body responds when it no longer feels judged. It begins to believe that perhaps it can stop defending itself from your own voice. Your voice can become a place of safety. You can speak slowly within. You can say, "Dear body, there is nothing to prove tonight." You can say, "Dear body, you are not required to be perfect." You can say, "Dear body, I will listen before I criticize." You can say, "Dear body, I am learning to trust you." Trust grows through small moments. It grows when you notice tension and answer with care. It grows when you rest before reaching the point of collapse. It grows when you eat, move, seek help, or make a choice from respect rather than punishment. It grows when you stop using harsh words to create change. Fear may create quick movement, but love creates a relationship that can last. Tonight, the relationship matters more than control. You do not need to force the body into sleep. Trying to force sleep often creates more alertness. The mind begins checking. Am I sleeping yet? Why am I still awake? How much time is left? How will I feel tomorrow? These questions turn sleep into another task. But sleep is not a task. It is an allowing. You do not make it happen through effort. You create conditions where the body feels safe enough to enter it. You can stop watching for sleep. You can simply rest. Rest is still valuable even before sleep arrives. The body can receive softness. The heart can receive kind words. The nervous system can receive the message that it is no longer alone. Nothing is being wasted. You do not need to measure this moment. You do not need to ask whether it is working. Healing can be quiet. Safety can enter slowly. The body may need to hear the same kind truth many times before it believes it. That does not mean you are doing something wrong. It means the body is careful. It has learned to be careful for a reason. Let trust grow at its own pace. You can say, "I am not trying to control you. I am here to support you." You can rest when you are ready. There is no hurry. The lack of hurry is part of the safety. The body may have spent the day rushing, moving from one task to another, answering, planning, adjusting, and reacting. Tonight, it can enter a different rhythm, a slower rhythm, a rhythm where nothing is chasing it, a rhythm where no one needs an answer, a rhythm where being still is enough. The heart does not need to stay guarded. It may have learned to close after disappointment. It may have become careful with hope. It may believe that staying tense prevents pain. But tension does not always prevent pain. Sometimes it only prevents rest. The heart can be wise without becoming hard. It can have boundaries without living in fear. It can remain open to life while becoming more careful about what it accepts. Tonight, the heart does not need to decide what happens next. It can become quiet. It can let the night hold its questions. It can remember that protection does not always look like closing. Sometimes protection looks like giving yourself peace. Sometimes it looks like no longer repeating words that hurt you. Sometimes it looks like allowing the body to stop reliving what has ended. You can say, "My heart is safe with me. I will not force it. I will not shame it. I will not hand it back to what keeps hurting it. I will listen. I will stay." These words teach safety from the inside. There may be a part of the body that feels more tender than the rest. You do not need to focus on it with fear. You can bring a gentle awareness, not what is wrong, but what do you need? The question changes everything. What is wrong creates fear. What do you need creates care. The answer may be rest. It may be support. It may be a practical step tomorrow. It may be less pressure. It may be honesty. It may be the permission to stop. You do not need every answer tonight. The question itself tells the body that you are listening. The body has a quiet wisdom. It knows when something feels safe. It knows when a room feels tense. It knows when a yes should have been a no. It knows when you are forcing yourself beyond what is kind. For years, you may have ignored these signals because you thought strength meant pushing through. Now strength can become listening. You can honor the message without fearing it. You can seek support when support is needed. You can care for the body without turning every feeling into a frightening story. You can respond with calm attention. Love and practical care can exist together. The body does not need empty promises. It needs a steady relationship. It needs to know that tomorrow you will still be on its side. You will not wake up and begin with criticism. You will not look for everything that needs to be fixed. You will remember that the body is a living companion, not a project. You can make this promise softly. I am becoming kinder to my body. I am listening more closely. I am allowing rest to matter. I do not need to earn care. I do not need to hate myself into change. The body may soften when it hears this, or it may remain tense for a while. Both are okay. You are no longer measuring your worth by how quickly you relax. You are building safety. Building safety requires patience. Imagine how often the body has received messages of fear. Hurry. Be careful. Something is wrong. You are not enough. You should be different. Do more. Try harder. Do not stop. These messages may have become the background of daily life. Tonight, you offer new ones. There is time. This moment is gentle. Nothing is required. You are allowed to stop. You are cared for. The body needs to experience these words as more than ideas. It needs the tone behind them. It needs the absence of pressure. It needs the feeling that even if sleep takes time, you will not become angry. Even if a thought returns, you will not call yourself a failure. Even if tension remains, you will stay kind. This is how the body learns that you are safe. Not because every feeling disappears, because you no longer abandon yourself when feelings appear. You become steady. You become patient. You become the one who remains. The body may have carried loneliness. Even in a room with others, it may have felt alone with its fear. Tonight, let it feel your presence. I am here with you. I am listening. I will not leave you because you are tired. I will not turn against you because you need care. I will not ask you to carry more than this moment. The body understands presence. It understands the difference between being managed and being loved. You are not trying to manage it tonight. You are returning to it. You may notice that as you become present, the body shows you how much it has held. Do not be afraid of that. A feeling rising does not mean something is getting worse. It may mean the body finally feels safe enough to let something be felt. Tears may come. A deeper breath may come. A sense of tiredness may become clearer. Let the response be human. You do not have to make meaning from everything. You can allow the body to express what words could not. The night can hold that expression. You are not falling apart. You may be releasing the effort it took to stay together. There is a great difference. You can let the face become soft. You can let the eyes rest without asking them to see the future. You can let the throat become quiet without holding back your truth. You can let the back be supported. You can let the legs stop preparing to run toward another task. Every part of you can hear the same message. There is nothing to chase right now. There is nothing to prove. There is nowhere else you need to be. You are here. This moment is enough. The body is part of life, and life knows how to move in rhythms, waking and sleeping, holding and releasing, doing and being. You do not have to stay in one rhythm forever. The active part of the day can end. The quieter rhythm can begin. Life continues inside you without your effort. The heart beats. The breath moves. The body carries out countless quiet tasks. You are not controlling each one. You are already being supported from within. Let this remind you that rest is not emptiness. Much is still happening. The body is not doing nothing. It is returning. It is balancing. It is listening. It is receiving the care you are finally offering. You can trust the body enough to stop watching it. You can trust the night enough to close your attention. You can trust that sleep does not need your control. I am safe enough to rest. My body is safe with me. I listen without fear. I respond with love. I allow my body to become quiet in its own time. I release the need to force sleep. I release the need to measure this night. I am supported even when I am not doing anything. The body hears, the body learns. The body begins to understand that tonight is not another battle. It is a return to stillness, a return to trust, a return to the feeling that you do not have to guard every door. The night is here. The surface beneath you is holding you. Life is moving without being pushed, and your body is slowly remembering that rest can be safe. Control often looks like strength from the outside, but inside it can feel like fear holding everything tightly. The mind wants to know when the answer will come. It wants to know how the situation will change. It wants to know who will stay, what will happen, and whether the future will be safe. It asks for a full map before taking the next step. It asks for proof before it allows peace. But life rarely gives every answer at once. Much of life unfolds while you are still learning how to trust it. You may believe that if you stop controlling, everything will fall apart. Perhaps control has helped you feel prepared. It has helped you plan, avoid disappointment, and protect yourself from uncertainty. There is nothing wrong with making plans. There is nothing wrong with taking action. But when control becomes the only way you feel safe, the mind never rests. It believes it must keep watching. It believes it must manage every outcome. It believes that one missed detail could destroy everything. That is too much responsibility for one mind to carry. You were not meant to control every part of life. You were meant to participate in it. Participation means you make choices. You speak honestly. You take the next step. You care for what is yours. Then you allow life to move too. Control says, it must happen this way. Trust says, I will do what I can and remain open to a way I have not seen. Control says, I need the answer now. Trust says, clarity can arrive when I am ready to use it. Control says, this one door must open. Trust says, the right path may appear in another form. You may fear that trust means becoming passive. It does not. Trust is not refusing to act. It is refusing to let panic lead every action. There is a difference between moving because wisdom says go and moving because fear says hurry. Wisdom can be clear even when the answer is small. Fear creates noise. Wisdom says, make the call. Fear says, call again and again until you feel safe. Wisdom says, speak the truth. Fear says, explain yourself until everyone agrees. Wisdom says, take care of what is in front of you. Fear says, solve the whole future tonight. Tonight, you can choose wisdom's pace. You can do less and still be responsible. You can wait and still be moving. You can rest and still be open to change. Life does not stop working because you stop worrying. Morning does not need your fear to arrive. The seed does not need you to dig through the soil and check whether it has begun to grow. Much of creation happens where the eyes cannot see. Roots form before leaves appear. The sky becomes lighter before the sun is visible. A new thought takes shape before it becomes a new life. You may be in an unseen part of your journey. This can feel uncomfortable because the outer world gives you little proof. You may have changed inside, but the situation still looks familiar. You may have chosen a new belief, but the old pattern still appears. You may have stopped chasing, but the answer has not arrived. Do not decide that nothing is happening. Not all movement is visible. Sometimes life is arranging what you could not arrange yourself. Sometimes you are being prepared to receive what you once wanted from fear. Sometimes a delay gives you time to become stronger, clearer, or more honest. Sometimes a closed door protects you from walking farther into what was never right. You do not have to turn every delay into rejection. You do not have to turn every silence into abandonment. You do not have to turn every unknown into danger. You can leave space for another meaning. Perhaps this is still forming. Perhaps life is moving in ways I cannot see. Perhaps I am not being denied. Perhaps I am being guided towards something that fits me more deeply. These thoughts do not force a positive answer. They simply stop fear from being the only voice. You are allowed to live inside possibility. You are allowed to believe that life contains more than what is visible tonight. The mind may say, but I need certainty. Certainty feels safe because it removes the unknown. But many beautiful things begin in the unknown. A new path, a new connection, a new understanding, a new sense of self. You cannot know every part before you begin. You cannot see the whole road from the first step. Sometimes you must become willing to walk with only enough light for where you are. Tonight, the light is simple. You are here. You have survived every day that brought you to this moment. You have learned. You have changed. You have more wisdom than you had before. You do not need the whole future to trust the next morning. You only need to know that you can meet life as it arrives. Trust does not mean believing nothing difficult will happen. It means believing you will not be alone inside yourself if something difficult comes. You will listen. You will care for the body. You will make the best choice you can. You will ask for help when help is needed. You will stop abandoning yourself for approval. You will return to the truth that one moment does not define your whole life. This is real trust. It is not trust in perfect conditions. It is trust in your ability to remain connected to yourself and to life. You may also be trying to control timing. The mind creates dates. By now, I should feel better. By now, this should have changed. By now, I should know what comes next. But the heart does not always heal by the clock. The body does not learn safety by the clock. Life does not arrange every opening by the clock. Time can tell you how long you have waited. It cannot always tell you what has been growing during that wait. Perhaps patience is being formed. Perhaps self-worth is becoming stronger. Perhaps you are learning not to accept what once felt normal. Perhaps you are becoming able to receive something good without losing yourself inside it. Preparation is not punishment. A quiet season is not an empty season. You may be becoming ready in ways you cannot measure. This does not mean you sit forever and do nothing. It means you stop using panic as proof that you care. You take the action that is available. Then you release the action. You stop pulling at the result. You let life answer in its own way. There is peace in knowing where your part ends. Your part may be to speak. Your part may be to apply. Your part may be to rest. Your part may be to leave. Your part may be to wait. Your part may be to become honest about what is no longer working. You do not need to do the whole universe's part. You do not need to create every connection. You do not need to force every person to understand. You do not need to hold every door open with your own hands. What is right for you should not require you to lose yourself in order to keep it. What belongs in your life can meet a version of you that is calm, honest, and whole. You do not have to chase from fear. You can move from love. You can choose from worth. You can act from the belief that support is possible. The need to control may also come from past disappointment. When something once went wrong, the mind may decide that it must prevent pain from ever happening again. It creates rules. Never trust too much. Never hope too much. Never relax. Never depend on anyone. Always be prepared to leave. These rules may reduce surprise, but they also reduce openness. They keep the heart from receiving what is new because it is still living by what happened before. You do not need to remove every rule tonight. You can question one. Do I still need to live this way? Is this rule protecting me, or is it keeping me inside fear? Can I be wise without being closed? Can I trust slowly without giving away my power? Trust does not ask you to ignore what you know. It asks you to stop assuming that every future will repeat the past. You can carry wisdom without carrying suspicion into every room. You can notice signs. You can keep boundaries. You can listen to your body, and you can still remain open to goodness. There is room for both wisdom and hope. You do not have to choose between being careful and being alive. You can protect your peace without building a wall around your heart. Tonight, Allow control to loosen around one area. Perhaps you are trying to control someone else's feelings. You want them to understand, choose, change, return, or see your worth. But another person's inner world belongs to them. You cannot create their readiness. You cannot force honesty into someone who is avoiding it. You cannot make another person value what they are not prepared to receive. Releasing control does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop making their choice responsible for your peace. You can say, I release the need to control how I am seen. I release the need to force an answer. I release the need to make someone ready. I return my attention to the life within me. Perhaps you are trying to control the outcome of a decision. You have thought through every possibility. You want a guarantee before you move. But guarantees are rare. Often growth asks for a choice made with honesty, not complete certainty. You can ask, what feels true? What choice respects my peace? What direction allows me to remain connected to myself? Then you can take the clearest step available. You do not need to predict every result. You can respond as life unfolds. You are allowed to adjust. You are allowed to learn. You are allowed to choose again. One decision does not close every path forever. Life is more flexible than fear suggests. Perhaps you are trying to control healing. You check whether you feel better. You measure your thoughts. You wonder why the same emotion returned. You believe that if sadness, fear, or anger rises again, you have lost your progress. But healing is not a straight line. A feeling can return without taking you back to the beginning. You may meet the same feeling with more understanding. You may recover from it more gently. You may no longer believe every thought it brings. That is growth. Do not control healing so tightly that healing becomes another source of pressure. Allow it to move. Allow good days and difficult days. Allow the body to learn. Allow the heart to open at its own pace. You can guide without forcing. You can support without measuring every moment. You can trust that repetition is changing something, even when the change feels small. Trust also means allowing support to arrive in ways you did not plan. The mind often chooses one form. The answer must come through this person. The opportunity must look like this. The change must happen by this time. The future must follow this picture. When life moves differently, the mind may call it failure, but a different path is not always the wrong path. Sometimes the form changes while the deeper desire remains. You may ask for love and first receive stronger self-respect. You may ask for abundance and first receive a new idea, a clearer boundary, or the courage to change direction. You may ask for peace and first become aware of everything that has been taking peace away. The beginning of an answer may not look like the final answer. Stay open. Life may be clearing before it builds. It may be showing you what cannot come with you. It may be closing what has already finished. You do not need to call every ending a loss. Some endings create the space that your next life needs. You can let the old form leave without believing goodness has left with it. Support is not limited to one source. Love is not limited to one person. Opportunity is not limited to one door. Life is larger than the plan fear created. You can say, I welcome good in forms I have not imagined. I release the belief that there is only one way. I trust that what supports me can find me. I allow life to surprise me with kindness. This kind of trust creates space. It does not demand. It does not beg. It does not cling. It stays open. You may wonder how to trust when you feel disappointed. Begin with what is already holding you, the surface beneath you, the breath that returns, the night that came after another day, the life within you that continued through every difficult season. You do not need to trust everything at once. Trust one small truth. This moment can pass. A feeling can change. Tomorrow can bring something you do not see tonight. You can make another choice. You can receive help. You can begin again. Small trust is still trust. It can grow. You do not need to leap. You only need to loosen your grip. Imagine holding water in a closed fist. The tighter you grip, the less you can hold. An open hand can receive. Your life does not need a clenched heart. It needs space. Space for guidance. Space for a new thought. Space for rest. Space for the answer to arrive in its own way. Tonight, let the hand inside you open. Let the demand soften. Let the question become quieter. You do not need to know everything before sleep. Life can work while you rest. Ideas can form. Emotions can settle. A clearer feeling may be waiting on the other side of this night. You do not need to bring it closer through effort. You can allow it. You can let the seed remain beneath the soil. You can let the dark sky prepare for morning. You can let the river move without pushing it. You can let life have its part. I release what I cannot control. I take responsibility for what is mine. I return what belongs to others. I allow timing to unfold. I do not need every answer tonight. Life can move in ways I cannot see. What is right for me can arrive without fear leading the way. I trust myself to meet tomorrow. I trust that rest is part of the path. I trust that not knowing is not the same as being lost. You are not lost. You are in a place that has not fully revealed itself. There is a difference. Lost means there is no way. Unrevealed means the way is still becoming visible. You do not have to force the light. You can rest until morning shows you more. This night is not empty. It is holding the space between what has ended and what is beginning. You are allowed to remain here without rushing. You are allowed to be unfinished. You are allowed to trust what is still unfolding. The mind can stop asking how. The heart can stop asking can. The body can stop preparing for every possible answer. You have done your part for this day. Now life can do what it does in silence. Roots can deepen, fear can loosen. The old story can lose its hold. A new inner state can begin forming where no one else can see it. You do not need to watch. You do not need to measure. You do not need to stay awake to make sure life continues. It continues. It moves. It carries. And tonight, you can let yourself be carried too. Now that the day has begun to loosen its hold, you do not need to keep thinking in the old way. You do not need to keep giving the mind the same heavy message. The night can become a place where new words enter gently, not words that force you to feel something you do not feel, not words that ask you to pretend, words that meet you where you are and guide you toward a softer inner place. You are safe enough to stop carrying the whole day. You are safe enough to let one thought become quiet. You are safe enough to stop looking for every answer. You are safe enough to rest without knowing what tomorrow will bring. Let these truths move through you without pressure. You do not have to hold them tightly. You do not have to test whether they are working. Let them come near. Let them become new sounds inside a mind that has heard fear for too long. Tonight, nothing is chasing you. Nothing needs to be proved. Nothing needs to be forced. You are here, and this moment is gentle enough to receive. Perhaps safety has felt difficult. Perhaps your mind has stayed alert even in quiet rooms. Perhaps the body has learned to expect tension. But safety can be learned again. It can begin in very small ways. A kind sentence, a softer thought, a moment when you do not follow fear. You are learning that stillness does not mean danger. You are learning that quiet does not mean something bad is coming. You are learning that rest does not make you weak. You are learning that peace can stay longer than fear expects. There may still be noise in the mind. Let it be there without making it the center of everything. You are larger than the noise. You are the one who can hear it and still choose another direction. A worried thought may speak and you can remain kind. A memory may rise and you can stay in the present. A fear may appear and you can refuse to build a future around it. The mind does not need to become empty before you can feel safe. It only needs to know that you are no longer turning every thought into a command. You can hear a thought and let it pass. You can feel a feeling and let it move. You can notice tension and answer with care. This is emotional freedom, beginning in a quiet way. You do not have to follow every old road. You do not have to enter every painful room. You do not have to repeat every sentence fear gives you. You are allowed to choose a new inner voice. That voice says, I am here with myself. That voice says, I do not need to be afraid of this moment. That voice says, I can remain soft without losing my strength. That voice says, I can release what no longer belongs in my body. Let release begin slowly. You release the pressure to have everything figured out. You release the need to understand every person. You release the need to return to what has already shown you its limits. You release the belief that worry keeps good things safe. You release the fear that rest will make you fall behind. Nothing important is being lost as you soften. You are not losing control. You are ending the struggle with what cannot be controlled. You are not becoming careless. You are becoming more honest about what your mind and body can carry. You are not walking away from your life. You are returning to it with less fear. There may be emotional weight that never belonged to you. You may have carried another person's sadness, anger, confusion, or disappointment. You may have felt responsible for making everything better. Tonight, you can return that weight. You can care without holding it in your chest. You can love without carrying another life inside your mind. You can wish someone peace without becoming responsible for giving it to them. You can let other people walk their own path. Your heart is not a storage place for every feeling around you. Your body is not required to carry the mood of every room. Your peace does not need to disappear because someone else is uncomfortable. You are allowed to remain connected to yourself. You are allowed to protect your inner space. You are allowed to choose distance from what keeps you tense. You are allowed to stop explaining your need for rest. The need to explain can become another burden. You may believe that everyone must understand your choice before you can feel good about it. But some choices are for your heart to understand first. You know when something has become too heavy. You know when your body is asking for another way. You know when an old pattern no longer feels like love. Trust that quiet knowing. You do not need a long defense. You do not need to make your pain clear enough for everyone to agree. Your inner truth is allowed to be simple. This no longer supports me. This no longer feels peaceful. This is not what I choose now. These are complete thoughts. You are allowed to honor them. You are also allowed to release the pressure to be perfect. Perfection keeps the heart on trial. It makes every mistake feel dangerous. It turns life into something you must perform correctly. But you are not here to perform your worth. You are not here to earn your right to be loved. You are not here to become free of every flaw before you deserve peace. You are worthy in the middle of becoming. You are worthy while learning. You are worthy on the days when you understand yourself and on the days when you do not. You are worthy when you are strong. You are worthy when you need care. You are worthy when the path feels clear. You are worthy when you are unsure. Your value does not rise and fall with your mood, your progress, or another person's response. Your value is not waiting at the end of a task. It is not waiting in a mirror. It is not waiting inside someone else's approval. It is already part of you. You do not need to prove that you deserve kindness. You do not need to prove that you deserve sleep. You do not need to prove that you deserve a lighter life. You were never meant to earn love through exhaustion. Let this truth reach the part of you that has worked so hard. You have tried to be enough. You have tried to do enough. You have tried to make yourself useful enough, calm enough, giving enough, or strong enough. Tonight, you can stop trying to become worthy. You can begin resting as someone who already is. I am worthy even when I am still. I am valuable even when no one needs anything from me. I matter even when I am not producing, fixing, or helping. My life has meaning beyond what I can do for others. These words may feel new. Let them be new. New words often need time before they feel natural. The old words were repeated for years. Of course they sound familiar, but familiar does not mean true. You can build a new kind of familiarity. You can become familiar with speaking gently. You can become familiar with receiving care. You can become familiar with not attacking yourself. You can become familiar with peace. Every loving sentence is part of that new relationship. You are also allowed to trust again, not blindly, not by ignoring what you have learned. Trust can be wise. It can move slowly. It can remain connected to truth. You can trust yourself to notice what feels wrong. You can trust yourself to leave when something keeps hurting you. You can trust yourself to ask for help. You can trust yourself to make a new choice. You can trust yourself to survive disappointment without losing your whole heart. Trust does not mean nothing painful will ever happen. It means you believe you will remain beside yourself if it does. You will not disappear. You will not become your own enemy. You will not use pain as proof that you are unworthy. You will listen. You will care. You will learn. You will choose again. This is a trust that no one can take from you. You can also trust life in small ways. You can trust that morning will come. You can trust that feelings move. You can trust that one difficult moment is not forever. You can trust that answers often appear after the mind becomes quiet. You can trust that support can reach you through more than one door. You do not need to trust the whole future. Trust the next step. Trust the next breath. Trust the quiet truth that you have already lived through things you once believed you could not face. There is strength in you that fear does not always remember. There is wisdom in you that pressure cannot hear. There is tenderness in you that pain did not destroy. There is a part of you that has kept turning toward life. That part is still here. Let it become stronger than the old fear. Let it speak now. I am willing to believe that life can support me. I am open to help that feels peaceful. I am open to answers that arrive with clarity. I am open to love that does not ask me to abandon myself. I am open to a future that feels kinder than the past. You do not need to know exactly what that future looks like. Openness is enough. You are not demanding. You are not forcing. You are creating room. Room for a new thought. Room for a different response. Room for the body to stop expecting the same pain. Room for something good to enter without being chased. Let renewal begin within you. You do not need to wake up as the same emotional version of yourself. You do not need to carry every old feeling into the next day. Something can be released during the night. A belief can become weaker. A memory can lose some of its charge. A fear can become less convincing. You can wake with more space inside, even if nothing outside has changed yet. The first change may be very quiet. You may notice that your chest feels a little less guarded. You may notice that one thought does not pull you as far. You may notice that you are kinder when you first open your eyes. You may notice that the future does not feel as frightening as it did before. Do not dismiss small changes. Small changes are often how the inner world begins to turn. A small opening can let in new light. A small act of trust can become a new pattern. A small moment of peace can teach the body what to return to. You are becoming lighter in ways that may not need to be measured. You are becoming less loyal to the old pain. You are becoming more available to rest. You are becoming more willing to believe that your life can feel different. Nothing needs to happen suddenly. You do not need to wake up as a stranger to yourself. You are simply becoming more yourself and less of what fear taught you to be. You are not fear. You are not the pressure. You are not the part that keeps expecting loss. You are the awareness beneath it. You are the life that has continued through every season. You are the tenderness that still wants to feel safe. You are the strength that no longer needs to look like tension. Let the affirmations move now in an easy rhythm. I release the need to finish everything tonight. I allow my mind to become quieter in its own time. I do not need to follow every worried thought. I am learning to rest without guilt. I am free to leave today where it belongs. I let other people carry what is theirs. I return my energy to myself. I no longer measure my worth through exhaustion. I am deserving of care before I reach my limit. I allow my heart to soften without losing wisdom. I trust myself to make loving choices. I am open to support I have not yet seen. I let old pressure lose its place in me. I welcome a calmer relationship with life. I do not need to fear every unknown. I am becoming more familiar with peace. I can meet tomorrow without carrying it tonight. I am allowed to receive good without struggle. I am no longer building my future from old fear. I am making room for a gentler way of living. Let each sentence land where it needs to land. Some may feel close, some may feel far away. You do not need to choose between them. Allow the ones that feel true to stay near. Allow the others to wait. There is no test. There is no correct way to receive. Your heart knows what it can hold tonight. Perhaps the most healing sentence is very simple. I do not need to fight myself anymore. Let that become a doorway. For so long, the fight may have been inside you. One part wanted peace, another part expected pain. One part wanted to move forward, another kept returning to the past. One part wanted to trust. Another believed control was safer. You do not need to choose one part and hate the other. Every part was trying to protect you in its own way. Tonight, they can begin to work together. The frightened part can hear that it is not alone. The tired part can receive permission to stop. The hopeful part can return without being mocked. The wiser part can guide without becoming harsh. You can become an inner home where no part must scream to be heard. I listen to myself with patience. I meet my fear with understanding. I give my tired heart room to breathe. I do not rush my healing. I remain with myself through every feeling. This is how inner safety grows, not through one perfect night, through a new way of responding, through words that do not hurt, through a tone that says, "You are welcome here. You are welcome in your own life. Your feelings are welcome. Your tiredness is welcome. Your uncertainty is welcome." You do not need to clean yourself up before you are allowed to receive love. You do not need to arrive as a finished version. You are allowed to be held while becoming. Tonight, let the weight become less personal. It is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is proof that you have carried much, and what has been carried can be put down. What has been repeated can be changed. What has been feared can be met with new understanding. What has felt permanent can begin to move. You are not trapped in the state you entered this night with. The mind can learn. The body can soften. The heart can open again. Your inner world can become lighter. Not because you are forcing it, because you are no longer feeding it the same fear. Let the final words of this section become quieter. I am safe in this moment. I am worthy of rest. I release what does not belong to me. I trust myself. I welcome peace. I allow renewal. I am here. I am held. I am becoming lighter. There is an old version of you that has worked very hard to keep you safe. This version may have learned to worry before anything happened. It may have learned to expect disappointment before hope became too strong. It may have learned to keep pull happy, stay silent, overthink, or control every detail. This old version is not your enemy. It was created through experience. It was shaped by what you lived through. It learned certain ways to survive. Maybe it learned that being useful helped you feel wanted. Maybe it learned that staying quiet protected you from conflict. Maybe it learned that expecting the worst reduced the shock of disappointment. Maybe it learned that rest was dangerous because something always needed attention. These patterns had a reason. They were not signs of failure. They were attempts at safety. But a pattern can begin as protection and later become a weight. The part that once kept you safe may now keep you tired. The part that once helped you avoid pain may now keep you from receiving love. The part that once helped you stay prepared may now prevent you from resting. You are allowed to thank an old pattern and stop living inside it. You are allowed to say, "You helped me then, but I do not need you in the same way now." There is no need for anger. There is no need to attack the old self. You do not need to say, "I hate who I was." The person you were carried you here. They did what they could. They made choices with the safety and knowledge available at that time. They deserve understanding. They also deserve rest. Tonight, let the old self stop working. Let the one who watches for danger become quiet. Let the one who tries to please everyone place down that role. Let the one who believes love must be chased stop running. Let the one who believes worth must be earned stop proving. These parts do not need to disappear. They only need to learn that another way is possible. You can become someone who feels without being controlled by every feeling. You can become someone who cares without carrying everyone. You can become someone who loves without losing themselves. You can become someone who rests without guilt. This new way may feel strange at first. The nervous system may prefer what it knows, even when what it knows is painful. Familiar fear can feel safer than unfamiliar peace. The old self knows how to survive tension. It may not yet know how to trust calm. So peace may feel empty. Quiet may feel uncomfortable. A healthy boundary may feel selfish. Receiving may feel harder than giving. This does not mean the new way is wrong. It means the new way is new. Give yourself time to become familiar with it. You did not learn fear in one day. You do not need to learn peace in one night. But tonight can be part of the learning. You can show the body that quiet does not always lead to pain. You can show the heart that not chasing does not mean love will disappear. You can show the mind that uncertainty does not always become disaster. You can show yourself that a softer life does not require you to become careless. Softness can be wise. Peace can have boundaries. Love can include self-respect. Rest can prepare you for action. You do not need the old identity to lead every choice. The old identity may say, check again. The new awareness says, I have enough information for tonight. The old identity may say, explain yourself. The new awareness says, my truth does not need endless defense. The old identity may say, make them understand. The new awareness says, I cannot control another person's readiness. The old identity may say, keep working. The new awareness says, my body deserves care. This is how change happens. One response begins to replace another. One loving choice interrupts an automatic pattern. One quiet no protects the life inside you. You do not need to announce that you are becoming different. Your choices will show it. You will notice it when you stop entering the same argument. You will notice it when you no longer send the message that comes from panic. You will notice it when you do not explain a boundary that already feels clear. You will notice it when you rest before exhaustion becomes pain. These are signs that the old identity is no longer in full control. You are not fighting it, you are outgrowing it. Growth can feel like loss at first. You may miss the version of yourself that could handle everything. You may miss the feeling of being needed. You may even miss familiar pain because you knew how to live inside it. But missing something does not mean you should return to it. You can feel the pull of the old way and still choose differently. You can feel fear and still remain honest. You can feel guilt and still protect your peace. You can feel uncertain and still stop chasing. The feeling is not the decision. You are allowed to make a new decision while the old feeling is still present. This is important because many people wait until fear disappears before changing. But fear may not disappear first. Sometimes the new choice teaches fear that it no longer needs to lead. You take the step. The body trembles. You remain kind. The body learns. You set the boundary. Guilt appears. You stay true. Guilt passes. You choose rest. The mind says you should be doing more. You remain still. The mind discovers that nothing terrible happens. This is how the new identity becomes real, not through one grand promise, through lived moments, through the way you answer yourself, through the way you return after slipping into the old pattern. You may return to an old reaction sometimes. That does not mean you have failed. It means the old road is still familiar. Notice. Do not attack yourself. Come back. The return is part of the new identity. The new you is not someone who never becomes afraid. The new you is someone who knows how to return from fear. The new you is not someone who never overthinks. The new you is someone who notices when the mind is becoming lost and chooses a kinder direction. The new you is not someone who never feels pain. The new you is someone who no longer uses pain as a reason to abandon themselves. That is a deep change. It may not be visible to every, but your body will know, your heart will know, your inner world will feel the difference. Tonight, imagine placing the old identity beside you like a coat that has become too heavy. It protected you from cold weather once. It carried you through difficult seasons. But you do not need to wear it in every season. You can honor it and take it off. You can say, "Thank you for helping me survive. Thank you for trying to protect my heart. Thank you for carrying me until I learned another way." You can rest now. I am becoming someone who listens before reacting. I am becoming someone who trusts their own needs. I am becoming someone who allows peace to matter. I am becoming someone who does not confuse suffering with love. This does not erase the past. It changes what the past becomes. The past becomes wisdom instead of identity. It becomes a teacher instead of a prison. It becomes part of your story, not the voice that writes every new page. You are allowed to be more than what happened to you. You are allowed to be more than the way you learn to protect yourself. You are allowed to become a person who feels safe enough to receive. Receiving may be part of the new identity. For a long time, you may have believed that you had to give first, prove first, work first, or suffer first. Good things may have felt dangerous because you were waiting for them to disappear. So when love came, you watched for loss. When rest came, you thought of work. When support came, you felt guilty. When joy came, you waited for something to go wrong. The old identity may not know how to keep a good moment open. It may close the door before disappointment can enter. Tonight, you can teach it that receiving can be safe. You can receive the comfort of this night without asking how long it will last. You can receive one calm moment without preparing for the next worry. You can receive support without feeling weak. You can receive rest without believing you must repay it. Good does not always come with a hidden cost. Kindness does not always disappear. Peace does not always need to be followed by fear. The body can learn this slowly. I am safe to receive a gentle moment. I am safe to be supported. I am safe to let something feel good without questioning it. I do not need to prepare for loss while receiving love. These thoughts open a new way of being. You are becoming someone who can stay present when life feels good. You do not have to pull the past into every peaceful moment. You do not have to protect yourself from joy. You can let joy be simple. A comfortable bed, a quiet room, a breath that feels easier, a moment when nothing is being asked of you. These things count. Let them count. The old identity may search for what is missing. The new awareness can notice what is here now, a place to rest. a body that has carried you, a mind that is learning, a heart that still wants peace, a life that has finished revealing itself. There is more here than fear notices. You do not need to force gratitude. Just notice one thing that is supporting you. Let that be enough. The new identity does not need to be positive every moment. It only needs to be present. It can say, "This is difficult, and I am still here." It can say, "I do not know, and I can still be kind." It can say, "I feel afraid, and I do not need to act from fear." It can say, "I am tired, and rest is the loving choice." This is a strong identity. It does not depend on pretending. It depends on staying connected to truth. You are no longer required to be the person who handles everything alone. You can ask. You can receive. You can let someone help. You can admit when something is too much. There is no shame in needing support. The belief that you must do everything alone may have kept you safe from disappointment, but it may also have kept you isolated. You can remain wise and still allow connection. You can accept help without giving away your power. You can be independent without becoming closed. You can let support reach you in ways that respect your peace. The new identity is not built from fear of the past. It is built from the truth you choose now. I choose honesty. I choose a calmer pace. I choose relationships that allow me to remain myself. I choose thoughts that do not frighten my body. I choose rest when rest is needed. I choose to believe that my life can grow beyond survival. You do not need to repeat these words loudly. The choice becomes real when it enters daily life. Still, words help prepare the ground. They remind the mind where you are going. They tell the old self that a new leader is here, not a harsh leader, a loving one. You are not controlling yourself into change. You are guiding yourself toward freedom. I am no longer required to live in constant alarm. I am no longer defined by what I once accepted. I am no longer building my life around fear of loss. I am becoming steady inside myself. I am making peace feel familiar. I am learning to live without carrying every old warning. Let the old warnings become quieter. Be careful. Do not trust. Do not rest. Do not hope. Do not need. These messages may have protected you once, but they are not the only truth. You can be careful and still open. You can trust with wisdom. You can rest and remain responsible. You can hope without giving away your power. You can need and still be strong. A fuller life includes all of these things. It does not ask you to live only in defense. Tonight, you do not need to defend yourself from the future. The future is not here. The past is not happening. This moment is enough. In this moment, the old identity can sleep. The watcher can sleep. The fixer can sleep. The one who always expects the worst can sleep. The one who believes everything depends on them can sleep. You do not need to lose these parts. You are giving them relief. You are telling them that life has another way to, hold you. You are telling them that peace is allowed to become part of your story. You are telling them that they no longer have to stand at the door all night. The door is closed. The day has ended. The room is quiet. You are here. The old identity can rest beside you, no longer in charge, no longer fighting, no longer carrying every fear forward. And beneath it, something more true is becoming visible. A softer self, a wiser self, a self that knows how to remain present, a self that does not need pain to feel familiar, a self that is ready to wake with less weight. Morning does not need to arrive with the same heaviness you carried into this night. It can meet you in another way. The room may be the same. The responsibilities may still be waiting, but something inside you can feel more open. You may wake and notice a small difference. The first thought may not be as sharp. The chest may not tighten as quickly. The future may not rush toward you all at once. There may be a little space between waking and worrying. That space matters. It is where a new beginning can enter. Do not expect yourself to wake as a completely different person. That expectation would create another form of pressure. Let the change be natural. A lighter morning may be simple. You may stay still for a moment instead of reaching for the phone. You may notice your breath before noticing your problems. You may speak one kind sentence before the old criticism begins. You may remember that you are allowed to start slowly. These are meaningful changes. A quiet morning shift can change the way you meet the whole day. The mind often returns to its strongest habits as soon as the eyes open. It may immediately search for unfinished tasks, messages, money worries, or emotional pain. Tomorrow, you do not need to be surprised if the old thought appears. You can meet it differently. The thought may say, "Here is everything you need to worry about." You can answer, "I will meet one thing at a time." The thought may say, "Nothing has changed." You can answer, "I am changing how I stand inside my life." The thought may say, "Hurry." You can answer, "I can begin without frightening myself." The first thought does not have to control the whole morning. You can choose another one. This day has not asked anything from me yet. I can meet it with a clear heart. I do not need to carry yesterday into the first light. I am allowed to begin from peace. You do not have to believe every word strongly. Let the words guide the body before the mind begins to argue. The body may understand gentleness before the mind understands hope. A softer jaw, a slower movement, a hand placed with care. A moment when you do not criticize your appearance. These actions teach the body that morning does not need to begin as a battle. You are not waking to fight another day. You are waking to live it. There is a difference. Fighting makes the body tense before anything has happened. Living allows the day to reveal itself. You do not know what simple good may be waiting. A helpful thought, a moment of relief, a conversation that feels easier. a solution that appears because your mind is clearer, a feeling of strength that returns quietly. Do not close the morning before it begins. Leave room for life to surprise you. You may have lived through many mornings that felt the same worry, the same emotional weight, the same feeling that you had to push yourself forward. But repetition does not make something permanent. A pattern can continue for years and still begin changing today. Your inner world is always learning from what you repeat. Tonight, you repeated release. You repeated safety. You repeated trust. Tomorrow, these ideas may feel a little closer. They may not replace every old thought. They do not need to. One new thought beside an old thought is already change. One calm response beside fear is already change. One act of self-respect beside an old habit is already change. You are not waiting for a perfect transformation. You are noticing the direction. Your direction is becoming softer. Your direction is becoming more honest. Your direction is leading away from constant pressure. You may wake with a question, what now? The answer does not need to be large. Now breathe. Now notice the room. Now remember that you are here. Now choose not to begin by attacking yourself. Now let the day come one piece at a time. You do not have to carry the afternoon in the morning. You do not have to solve the evening before breakfast. You only need to meet what is here. This is how a lighter life is built, not by removing every responsibility, by removing the fear that says every responsibility must be carried at once. You can have much to do and still remain connected to peace. You can face a difficult conversation and still remain connected to yourself. You can have an uncertain future and still begin with kindness. The day does not decide your inner tone before you do. You can choose how you speak within. You can choose whether one problem becomes the whole sky. You can choose whether another person's mood enters your body. You can choose whether you return to the old story or create a new response. Choice does not mean complete control. It means you have more power than fear tells you. You may not choose every event. You can choose not to become cruel to yourself because of an event. You may not choose how someone treats you. You can choose what you continue allowing. You may not choose when every answer arrives. You can choose not to destroy the present while waiting. These choices create lightness. They remove the extra pain that comes from fighting yourself. Tomorrow, allow the first light to remind you that life continues. Darkness does not remain because it feels permanent at night. Morning comes through a quiet process. Your inner life can change the same way. You may not see the exact moment when the darkness begins, to lift. At first, there is only a small difference in the sky. Then shapes become clearer. Then the whole room feels new. Let your healing be like that. Do not demand the full sun before you honor the first light. A small sense of relief matters. A moment of self-kindness matters. A choice not to return to what hurt you matters. A little trust matters. The first light is not less valuable because the whole sky is not bright yet. You are waking into a process. The heaviness may not vanish completely, but it does not have to sit in the same place inside you. It can become something you observe instead of something you are. You may wake and still feel sadness, but perhaps the sadness feels less lonely because you are with yourself. You may wake and still face uncertainty, but perhaps uncertainty no longer feels like danger. You may wake and still have responsibilities, but perhaps you do not carry them as proof that life is against you. This is what it means to become lighter. Not empty, not unaware, not free from being human. Lighter means you stop adding unnecessary weight. You stop carrying what belongs to yesterday. You stop carrying another person's choices. You stop carrying every possible future. You stop carrying the belief that you must do everything alone. The life itself may remain full, but the inner struggle begins to lessen. You begin to live instead of constantly prepare for pain. Tomorrow, be careful not to test yourself too quickly. Do not open your eyes and ask, did it work? Do not search for every trace of heaviness and become disappointed if one feeling remains. Healing is not a test you pass in the first minute of the morning. Let yourself wake naturally. Let the new state reveal itself. Perhaps you will notice the change later, in the way you respond to a message, in the way you look at yourself, in the way you refuse to follow an old fear, in the way you choose rest before pressure becomes too much. Do not demand proof. Live the new thought and allow proof to grow from it. You can carry one sentence into the morning. I begin this day without carrying the whole future. Let it be enough. If the mind becomes busy, return to it. If the body becomes tense, return to it. If the day becomes difficult, remember that you are allowed to begin again at any hour. A new beginning does not belong only to morning. It can happen at noon. It can happen after a mistake. It can happen after a difficult conversation. It can happen in the moment you notice you have left yourself and choose to return. You are never far from the next loving choice. This is one of the most freeing truths. You do not need a perfect day to feel proud of yourself. You need the willingness to return. Return to your breath. Return to your values. Return to the way you want to speak within. Return to the belief that your peace matters. Tomorrow may still bring old triggers. Let them show you where the new response is needed. If someone does not understand you, you can remain with yourself. If a plan changes, you can respond without calling the day ruined. If fear appears, you can listen without obeying. If you feel tired, you can care instead of criticize. These are the signs of a lighter inner world. You are not becoming someone who is untouched by life. You are becoming someone who is less willing to be pulled away from themselves by every part of life. You return faster. You remain kinder. You recover without making pain your identity. This creates emotional space, and emotional space allows new things to be noticed. You may notice beauty that pressure once hid. You may notice support that fear once ignored. You may notice how often life gives small signs of care. A warm drink, a quiet road, a helpful word, a task completed, a moment when the body feels at ease. These moments were not always absent. Sometimes the mind was simply too busy looking for danger. As you become lighter, your attention becomes freer. It can see more than what is wrong. It can notice what is working. It can notice what is possible. It can notice that life has not stopped loving you because one area feels difficult. Good can exist beside uncertainty. Peace can exist beside responsibility. Hope can exist before the answer. You do not need to wait for a perfect life to receive these things. You can receive them in small forms now. Tomorrow, let the day be unfinished when it begins. Do not decide too quickly what kind of day it will be. A heavy first thought does not mean a heavy whole day. A delay does not mean a bad outcome. A quiet morning does not mean nothing good is coming. Stay open. There is more life ahead than the mind can see in one moment. You have not lived every answer. You have not met every person who may support you. You have not received every idea that may change your direction. You have not felt every peaceful feeling that is still possible. Do not let old experience speak for the whole future. The future has not been written by your worst day. It is still meeting your choices. It is still responding to the way you treat yourself. It is still open. You can wake with a lighter inner world because you are no longer asking the past to write tomorrow. You are giving tomorrow a new voice, the voice of patience, the voice of self-respect, the voice of trust, the voice that says, I will meet this day without abandoning myself. Let that become your morning promise. I will stay with myself. I will not use fear as my first guide. I will not make one problem my whole identity. I will let good moments count. I will take the next step without carrying every step after it. This is enough. You do not need a long morning practice. You do not need to perform peace. You only need one real moment of connection. One moment when you remember that your life is happening now, not yesterday, not in the feared future, now. This moment is where lightness lives. It lives in the decision not to reopen an old wound. It lives in the choice to speak kindly. It lives in the space between a trigger and your response. It lives in the courage to let today be new. You may wake feeling lighter than expected. Let yourself receive that without fear. Do not say this will not last. Do not wait for heaviness to return. Receive the easier breath. Receive the calmer thought. Receive the small hope. You are allowed to feel better. You are allowed to have a peaceful morning after difficult years. You are allowed to become less connected to pain. Feeling lighter does not disrespect what you survived. It honors the part of you that kept moving toward healing. You do not need to stay heavy to prove that the past was real. You can let relief be real too. You can let the morning meet a heart that has placed something down. You can let your body discover that a new day does not always begin with fear. You can let the first light touch a version of you that no longer wants to live under the same emotional weight. Tomorrow can meet you with more room inside, more room for breath, more room for choice, more room for quiet confidence, more room for the belief that life may still bring something good. You do not need to know what that good will be. Let the openness be enough. The morning is forming now, not on the clock. Inside the way you are releasing, inside the way you are trusting, inside the way you are giving yourself permission to become new. There is nothing more you need to solve tonight. Nothing more you need to understand. Nothing more you need to prove. The day has reached its end. You have carried it far enough. You can let it leave you now. The words that were spoken can become quiet. The things that were unfinished can remain unfinished until another time. The questions can close their eyes. The body can stop preparing. You are not required to hold the world together while you sleep. Life continues without your worry. The night knows how to move toward morning. The body knows how to enter rest when it feels safe. Your only work now is to stop making rest feel like work. You do not need to try harder. You do not need to wait for the perfect thought. Let everything become simpler. This bed is here. This breath is here. This moment is here. You are here. That is enough. The past has said what it needed to say. You have listened. You have learned. You do not need to reopen every chapter. Let the book close gently. The story is not ending. Only this day is ending. There are pages ahead that do not need to carry the same words. There are mornings ahead that can feel different. There are parts of you still waiting to be known without fear. Tonight, those parts can rest close to you. The tired part, the hopeful part, the part that has been strong for too long, the part that wants to believe life can become softer. None of them need to fight. They can lie down together inside one body, one heart, one quiet life. You do not need to choose between being strong and being gentle. Gentleness is a form of strength. It takes strength to stop pushing. It takes strength to release a thought you have followed for years. It takes strength to trust the night with what you cannot finish. You have that strength, not the strength that tightens, the strength that allows, the strength that says, I have done enough, the strength that says, this can wait, the strength that says, I am safe to let go. Let the body hear that. The forehead can become smooth. The eyes do not need to see anything else. The mouth does not need to form another answer. The shoulders can stop carrying names, duties, and expectations. The hands can remain open. The heart can become quieter. The stomach can release tomorrow. The whole body can receive the message. You are not being asked for anything now. You do not need to reach another place. You have arrived at the end of this day. Let the night meet you exactly as you are, not improved, not finished, not free from every feeling, just honest, just tired, just ready to stop. You are allowed to sleep while your life is still becoming. You are allowed to rest while answers are still forming. You are allowed to close your eyes before every problem has found its end. Rest does not require completion. It creates the space where completion can come later. You can trust that what needs attention will return at the right time. You do not need to hold it in your mind to keep it from disappearing. What matters will still matter in the morning. What needs action will still be there, and you may meet it with clearer eyes, with a steadier heart, with more energy than fear could give you. Tonight, let fear lose its job. It does not need to plan tomorrow. It does not need to watch every door. It does not need to remind you of every possible problem. Fear has worked enough. It can become quiet. You can tell it, thank you. You tried to protect me. You stayed awake when you believed I needed you. But I am choosing another kind of protection now. I am choosing rest. I am choosing trust. I am choosing to believe that peace can keep me safe too. There is nothing to fight in this room. No future event is happening here. No old conversation is taking place here. No mistake is being made again. This is only the present, a quiet moment, a body being held, a life being given another night. You can remain here. You can stop traveling backward. You can stop traveling forward. Let the mind return from every imagined place. Bring it home, home to the breath, home to the body, home to the truth that you are not alone within yourself. You are staying. You are not abandoning the tired part. You are not leaving the frightened part to face the night alone. You are here with all of yourself, and your presence is enough. You do not need perfect confidence. You only need kindness. You do not need complete trust. You only need a small willingness to stop resisting rest. You do not need every fear to disappear. You only need to stop feeding it. The night can take care of the quiet. You can stop filling every space with thought. A little silence can enter. A little softness can spread. A little relief can become real. You may still hear thoughts moving. Let them move like distant sounds. You do not need to answer. You do not need to follow. You do not need to decide whether they are true. Let the thoughts pass through a mind that is no longer available for work. This mind has given enough. It has carried enough. It has tried enough. Now it can rest. Your heart has also given enough. It has cared. It has hoped. It has forgiven what it could. It has survived disappointment. It has remained open in ways you may not always notice. Let the heart receive now. Receive the night. Receive the support beneath you. Receive the simple truth that you are not required to carry pain every hour. You can release the weight and keep the wisdom. You can let go of the fear and keep the lesson. You can stop waiting at the old door and still remember what it taught you. You can become lighter without losing who you are. The heaviness was never your true self. It was something you carried. It was made from moments, words, fears, choices, memories, responsibilities, and what was gathered can be released. Not all at once, not through force, but gently. This thought can leave. This tension can soften. This day can end. You can become less full of what has already passed. There is space inside you now. Space where fear once spoke without question. Space where you can hear a new voice. A voice that does not demand. A voice that does not judge. A voice that says, rest. A voice that says, you are still worthy. A voice that says, tomorrow does not need to repeat today. Let that voice become quieter and deeper. You are safe enough to sleep. You are worthy enough to receive rest. You are loved enough to stop proving. You are strong enough to become soft. You are wise enough to let the night carry what you cannot. Nothing important is being taken away. You are releasing only what has become too heavy. The pressure, the old fear, the need to know, the need to control, the belief that everything depends on you. Let these things loosen. Let them fall away without noise. You do not have to watch them leave. The night can hold them. The darkness is not empty. It is a place where the outer world becomes quiet enough for the inner world to return to balance. You can trust this quiet. You can let it surround you without feeling alone. You are part of life even when you are not doing anything. You belong to life while resting. You belong to life while uncertain. You belong to life while healing. Nothing about your worth disappears in sleep. You are still held. You are still connected. You are still becoming. The morning will not require you to become someone else. It will meet the person who is here now, a person who has chosen release, a person who has stopped fighting the whole past, a person who is learning that the body deserves kindness, a person who is becoming more open to support. Tomorrow, you may notice lightness in a small way. Let it be small. Do not demand more. Let the first moment of peace be enough. Let the first kind thought be enough. Let the first choice not made from fear be enough. Every lighter life begins with a lighter moment. This can be that moment. You do not need to reach morning now. The night will carry you there. You can stop watching the path. You can stop asking how long it will take. You can stop checking whether sleep is near. Let sleep find you. Let it come without being chased. Let the body enter it when it is ready. Until then, rest. Rest is already healing in its own quiet way. Rest is already teaching the mind that stillness is safe. Rest is already showing the body that nothing is required. You are doing enough by allowing. You are receiving enough by remaining here. The day has left your hands. The future has not arrived. You are between them, held in a place where nothing needs to happen. Let this place become gentle. I release this day. I release what I cannot change. I release the fear of what has not happened. I allow my heart to become quiet. I allow my body to feel supported. I allow my mind to stop working. I am safe to enter the night. I am free to rest without guilt. I am open to waking with more peace inside. You do not need to repeat these words. Let them settle where they belong. Some may move through the mind. Some may enter the heart. Some may be heard by the body. You do not need to know which. The night can do its quiet work. The old identity is resting. The watcher is resting. The one who carried everything is resting. The one who feared being left is resting beside your own loving presence. No part of you needs to remain alone. You are here. You are listening. You are staying. The body can trust that. The heart can trust that. The tired mind can finally stop asking whether someone will come and save it. You have come back to yourself. You are not doing everything alone. Life is here too, in the breath, in the beating heart, in the quiet intelligence that carries the body through sleep. You do not need to command that intelligence. It already knows how to continue. Let it continue without your control. Let the body become heavy in the safest way, heavy against the bed. Heavy because it no longer needs to hold itself up. Heavy because the day has been placed down. And inside that supported heaviness, the emotional weight can begin to leave. The worry can become less sharp. The past can become farther away. The future can remain unopened. You have nothing to enter right now. No memory, no plan, no task, only rest. Only the gentle ending of a long day. Only the chance to be held without giving anything in return. You are allowed to receive this. You are allowed to let the room become quiet. You are allowed to stop listening for what might go wrong. Tonight does not belong to fear. It belongs to rest. It belongs to release. It belongs to the part of you that has waited a long time to feel safe enough to soften. That part does not need a speech. It needs your presence. Stay near it. Let it hear the simplest truth. You do not have to carry this anymore. Not tonight. Not in this moment. You can put it down. You can leave it outside the place where sleep begins. You can enter the night with less pressure, less fear, less need to control, less attachment to what has already ended, and with less weight. There is more room for peace, more room for trust, more room for life to move through you without struggle, more room for morning to feel new. You are not asking the morning to fix you. You are allowing the night to return you to yourself. That is enough. Your true self was never the fear. It was never the pressure. It was never the tired voice that said you must keep going. Your true self is the quiet life beneath all of that. The life that is still here. The life that still knows how to receive love. The life that still knows how to begin again. Let that life rest now. Let it become quiet. Let it be carried. The day is complete. The past is closed for tonight. Tomorrow is not asking for you yet. You can remain here. Soft, safe enough. Unhurried. Nothing more to hold. Nothing more to solve. Nothing more to become before sleep. The night is carrying everything you no longer need to carry.